Hello. You find yourselves 1 minute before midnight on 21 Marpenoth, 1395 DR. Kaysen, you move in an instant before QE does. You hear him humming to himself as he steadies his athletic stance. His little tune echoes in your head. Above you, the moon is watching. And on the eastern side of River Road, Julianne, Rain, and Tilda, you find yourselves gazing up at St. Cyr Manor. In your house, Tilda, there were two lanterns, one in the kitchen and one in the living room. You remember your mom cranking the wheel of her printing press late at night by lantern light, and the way that the ink made you smell like a broken pen. The St. Cyrs must have a dozen or more lights. The ones upstairs in the hallway to Noe's room are still lit. And inside Noe, you wonder if Alice Osborne will do her part. In your bedroom, you feel it suddenly, the sudden snap of life's thread. In your mind's eye, you can imagine dust blowing across the marketplace, and in the morning, people will sweep their front stoops, and life will go on. Just seconds until midnight now. But we must go back for a moment. 2 days. Tomorrow is once again your birthday, Tilda Lochlarren. And we find ourselves in a temporary elven war camp 10 miles east of the Elenair. Birds seem pleased, high in the canopy, and the sun warms the scene. One moment. Jucky, you find yourself summoned by Alcinerat, the Archdruid and spiritual leader of your people. He has no true formal title, and your family and his have a long and storied relationship. Your family has crafted unique artisan crossbows for over 1,000 years in Myth Dranor. Crossbows are a decidedly foreign weapon, and your father and grandfather were looked at with scrutiny and suspicion for corresponding with dwarves and gnomes. Their loyalties were questioned, their integrity tested. First, their workshop was seized as part of the nationalization process after Myth Dranor was retaken. When you and your family were pushed westward to the edges of the Cormanthor forest, you found a frontier that was very different from the cities that you were used to. You quickly lost your cosmopolitan accent. You grew to hate the human foragers who would raid the stores of your town. You fell asleep hungry many nights. The druid that now stands before you brought you good berries after midnight many evenings. He would refresh his spells and bring you and your family and other families little purple berries. And he promised you something, Jucky. Acceptance. Revenge. And now you find yourself here with Alcinerat on this sunny and glorious morning. You have been on the road with Alcinerat for 12 days. Above you, you hear the wings of griffins ascending into the sky. As you enter his tent, Alcinerat stands slowly and greets you. Here in the light, he looks older than you remember. Jucky Sourstomp, tomorrow we cross the Elenair. Within 3 days, we will be at Isherin together. I am sure that you have questions, and I seek to dam the flow of them before they start. Once we reach Isherin, we will put down roots. This settlement and these lands will be ours once again. But buried deep inside Isherin is a sword. Corellan's sword, Sahendrian. Alcinora walks over to an empty weapon stand that is prominently displayed here in his war tent. Corellin's daughter, Illustriae, secreted it away to the Prime after Lolth's attempt on her father's life. The humans found it and pretended it was their own Jucky. In visions I have seen the humans fleeing the burning of their cities. They took this sword to Isherin and interred it with a body. I need your help, Jucky. The first task that I will charge you with is assisting us in retrieving this sword so that we may put it in Corellin's hand. The humans living here may have more information that will aid us. I charge you with finding out more about the sword and who was buried in Isherin alongside of it. What questions do you have so far, my child?
I'll be honest. I'm not much of a finder. I was more hoping there'd be a bit of a fight.
Aye, you're more of a fighter than a finder.
Oh, yes, sir. Your lordship.
I will have need of those talents too, Jucky.
Well, that's why I'm here.
My son, Erwin, has been afflicted by a mysterious disease. Sunlight harms him and his vitality has been taken away from him. But in the shadow of this little human town here, he recovers. And I have a counterpart in the human village, a man named Edward. He knows something about Erwin's condition and has offered to help him in exchange for information. Erwin knows the location of Edward's ex-wife, who was one of us. They are seeking a clandestine meeting tomorrow night. My son will leap from his griffin away from his wingmen and attempt to meet Edward in private. If he fails, I charge you with finding Edward and asking him to cure my son. This mission is a secret from most of my men, Jucky.
That's the only name we have. Just Edward.
Alcinrat nods sagely.
I've seen a lot of Edwards, but I'll do my best.
He walks forward and places a hand on your shoulder, Jucky. One final thing.
Jucky leans in.
You act with my full authority. Since the spell plague, one deity has led us. Corellin.
Yes,
I act in his name, and now you act in mine. Where others would call you a low elf, I call you my brother.
Jucky gives like a on his armor, a stamp.
You do so. And back in this present moment, it becomes 22 Marpenoth. It has been almost 1400 years since the Dale Reckoning. Happy birthday, Cormyr. Kaysen, you have the initiative, and the analytical part of your brain runs through your options. Your right hand finds your left. The tendons of your wrist are loose and wet, and your blood is rushing from the empty spaces that your fingers find. You clench hard, your teeth grit. You've been through worse. A quick inventory of your body. You're intact, alive, and you won't bleed out quite yet. And in this long moment, you see QE's nostrils flare. You hear a voice suddenly in your head, unidentifiable, human, ancient, brutalized, powerful yet beaten, foreign yet comfortable. It will be okay. Give yourself to me, my perfect martyr. If you give in, you will break your oath and every sun-kissed butterfly inside of you. Looking over your shoulder, you sense a different option. The dimming distant lights of the city, like the last of one of Rick's cigarettes. You could make a run for it. And as your head swivels back in this long moment, you see QE's eyes reflecting the flame of the torch. Another option, you could give in, Kaysen. Your thighs, full of lactic acid, cry out to collapse and allow you to simply fall forward, leaving your fate in the hands of this dangerous stranger. But none of these fates are guaranteed, Kaysen. Your fate is your own, and you are no stranger to acting with purpose. It is your turn.
May I incorporate my choice to that voice in my head within my dialogue and my action?
Sure. Something else, if you'd like, you can pass for right now, and we can check in with Rain, Tilda, and Julienne. Should you wish to take a moment to mull over your options, would you prefer that? You would.
I know what I want to do. I'm just ordering the pieces of my turn. Thank you. That sounds good.
I understand completely. One moment. Tilda, Rain, and Julienne. You find yourselves at the base of the road that leads up to St. Cyr Manor. It's getting very dark out here. You see the silhouettes of elven soldiers at the front of the St. Cyr Manor. It is your turn.
I believe we were en route back to the inn.
We were.
That was the direction we were headed.
Ugh, where is he? I don't know why she sent me out here. She's the one with divination powers. I think sometimes she just wants to yell at me, you know?
I think in some means she does. Apologies. I think all this traveling through damp caves has left me a bit. May have caught cold. Like I mentioned, do be wary. She is a little perturbed.
Yeah, I guess we're all perturbed today.
Yes.
It's definitely been an eventful few days. Not few days, evening, day. It's all blending together already.
I don't know. Let's just go back. She'll yell at me, I guess.
Very likely. Perhaps we should keep this whole perhaps your brother is a traitor thing under wraps.
He's not a traitor. I
think-
have to believe that.
I
Father
think-
would be so mad at her.
I think it's a bit hasty to jump to conclusion, especially of one of this caliber. At least some kind of proof.
I think the two horse prints leading out of town, and not many who ride horses. Two missing young strapping men that are easily impressionable. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for reading novellas and jumping to conclusions. You're not wrong there. And something does a bit grind my gears. I don't know about you. What is an unsolved mystery if not just a mystery? Once it's solved, it's no longer a mystery. It seems like it's an additive thing. I'm getting myself all wound up again.
Even the main thread of a mystery can be solved, but there's still loose ends.
I don't think you're really getting to the meat of why I'm being pedantic here.
I don't believe I am. I would just like to. It feels like mere coincidences all lining up. I would
Yes,
just
and
some
that
similar-
many coincidences in a row. Not really so much coincidence anymore, are there?
You'd be surprised of what can happen in the world.
You know, you two
I'm
don't
sorry,
really.
I would be fucking surprised. Me! The one that travels around while you flit about in your fucking little laboratory. Oh, yes. Rain begins hurriedly, huffily, stomping off. Most notably covered in dirt and slime and ichor and the day's travail.
I guess I'm not the only one who's going to get yelled at tonight.
Yeah, what's new? Rain gets like this at times. But even in the laboratory, when you're experimenting with things you don't know what's going to happen, coincidences just happen to line up. He may be on the road, but let's drop this.
Rain does catch himself roughly at the clearing here. Too many times have we lost track of where everyone is. He does manage to rein it in.
You sense that the humans that are accompanying you have a much harder time seeing in the darkness. What is for you clear and geometric must be for them muddied and indistinct terrain.
In either case, all I've had is one, maybe two crackers with jam. That is, fingers crossed, perhaps food will calm the mind, your mother included. Perhaps these coincidences will wash away in the morning.
Maybe the coincidence of you being so grumpy will relieve itself with some food.
Yeah, we are right next to a river. Those elves in that tower would not bat an eyelash if I tossed you in.
I'll snicker at that. Rain, you wouldn't.
I don't think I could lift her now.
You could certainly try. I certainly don't even weigh that much, so that is on you, my good sir.
Rain
I'll let out whistle.
Rain is very thin.
Look, I know you're on the road traveling, so you don't have much food. Unfortunately, I'm deep in my book, so I forget to eat, so
Fair,
keep it
fair.
at that.
Rain, did nobody ever teach you how to speak to women?
Oh, I'm fully well aware. Give me... This is not here nor there, but this has been bothering me. Rain breaks conversation. Please don't wander off. I just want to check something. We were passing past a patch of where the melons grow, correct?
Yep.
That's right.
Rain will take a few steps into the patch, trying to delicately walk over anything that was not harvested up to this point.
You do
A
so.
spriggling thought has wriggled into the back of Rain's mind as to why he's actually here.
About this time, as Rain will step off the road, Julian will go ahead and illuminate her light vial. Just to kind of keep an eye on him.
You watch as Rain steps into a field full of ripening melons. Rain?
Rain's mostly looking in between where the melons are planted, trying to find signs of anything else in addition to where the melons would be.
What are you looking for?
Little ceramic pods.
Roll investigation.
Uh, 21.
You, with your 21 on investigation, find something concerning. You know what you're looking for. Signs of digging and ceramic flower pots that would have been buried here. You find a little furrow of fresh dirt. you dig into it with your hands?
You would, yeah.
You spend some time digging through the dirt here, under the moon, just past midnight. And we find ourselves again on the North Road. Kaysen, the action is with you.
Sensing that his very hastily thought of last words as he was attempting to walk away did not land very well at all, he just sort of senses a dire change in the mood and turns to face Kiwi. He's going to take 6 good seconds to mull over that offer in his head. He's going to use his movement to be not a smart boy and walk back up to Kiwi.
You do so.
This person is that much of a threat to you? Just because I won't tell you everything doesn't mean I'm against you. Maybe I'll die a fool for playing both sides, but I can die after I've found my friends. And we're gonna try a grapple. Oops, that's not a roll.
You do so.
19. The way he's going to do it is trying to avoid using his left hand, like wrapping his arm around him, and then sort of using his weapon, like as he's kind of standing, like kind of to the side behind and like trying to press it against his throat so he can't say a spell.
You try to cut off his airway so that the bard cannot cast the spell. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you rolled a 19 on your attack roll. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. 19 hits. Let's think about this. You act faster than the bard. You, with your
He's mostly trying to buy some time so he can finish his little ramble.
His
and then
speech.
whatever happens next is going to happen.
you
That's all we got.
you block the bard's airway with the long, flat handle of your mace. Your 19 hits, you successfully grapple, and you have no shield, so both of your hands are free. You feel QE gurgle against you. You get the impression that if he were to act, he probably was going to cast the spell. You have him pinned against you. Still your action. What are you doing here? What is your next step? Exposition? Do you lecture your fresh captive? Something a well-worn groove in the road? Go ahead.
If you're looking for someone to betray someone who saved their life, you can keep looking. Look, I'm an idiot and I don't understand anything that's happening, but let me walk away from here and I'll look for some way to mend things, throw a wrench in whatever's brewing. I don't know. I'm tired of not knowing my God's will. I watched the other half of my heart cleave a fellow Lathandrite in half, and my God let it happen. And now here I am sticking my hands in vampires' mouths when I should have a divine responsibility to burn you all to ashes. But I can't. I think Lathander made a mistake with me. And I'm choosing a new fate. And he will take that other voice's offer.
You do so. We will come back to this in one long moment. Jucky Sourstump. You find yourself walking alone at night. You prefer it this way, don't you? Just you and a heavy crossbow of your family's design. And you found something peculiar tonight. Torches lit on an empty road leading up into the northeast mountains. Far in the distance, you see something strange. Is it a tussle? You see far away from you 2 figures. One seems to have the other pinned to his chest by way of a mace. One moment. Make sure you can move that token. Eastern Road, up toward Des Grove. Perfect.
Yes, indeedy.
And we will come back to you. Julianne, Rain, and Tilda, you arrive at your destination.
Take a breath and say, all right, here we go.
You know you don't have to deal with her alone.
What do you mean? What are you going to do? This is my family. Of course I have to deal with her alone.
No, you don't. We can defend you.
She's not
Yeah, I
going to...
think-
If she's gonna belittle you and yell at you, we can at least stick up for you and tell her like what you've done tonight.
Julianne, I could have never succeeded at this in her eyes.
Well then,
I'll just open the door.
You open the door and see 2 figures here. One, Mikhail, is behind the bar drinking by himself. To his right, to your left, is Ed Severino, who is holding up a paper spider that was on the altar. As a side note, Arsinoe St. Cyr, feel free to interrupt the turn order at any time should you act or wish to awaken or wish to have a certain dream. Back in the Lonesome Tankard, the 3 of you see Ed and Mikhail.
And she's not here, after all that.
You don't see her, no.
I did
it is past midnight. She could be in bed.
procure rooms for everyone. You may sleep here tonight if you wish. I thought, with all things withstanding, with the you gestures vaguely as though there was an explosion.
Well, okay, yeah, sure.
Food first? No. Perhaps. I don't think I saw either of you eat before you all ran off.
No, we didn't. The idea was just to check the tower and come back, but
Where's the bedroom? Never mind. I'm just gonna find her.
just ask Mikhail.
Walk up to the bar.
You do so. Mikhail seems deep into his cups.
Hello, Mr. Mikhail. Where's my mother? Lainey?
He's rubbing his temples. Your mom's in 6.
Is there something you want to get off your chest here?
I'm just mentally preparing for my brother's funeral.
I feel exactly the same way.
When you say this, he looks up at you and nods. No, Ran?
No. It's just like the men in our family to run off and die alone.
If it's any consolation, our investigation has led to no people, but according to those so kind, In the watchtower to the bridge, 2 strapping young men above horses made their way west. So, they may not be here, but I do think they're still standing a lot. Do you have any... Where would they go if this were them? Perhaps are they attached to the nearby town? Does your brother have extended family? Sorry, your son.
Were you talking to me? Sorry, this is out of character. Or was it Mikhail?
In vague to both.
Okay. I mean, I'm from Evening Star. My whole family's we're Evening Starans.
Alright. And you, Mikhail? Would you have any reason to jump atop a horse and ride on out of here? Outside of the, we're under siege part.
He shakes his head. He wouldn't just leave. He wouldn't leave without me. If there's a place that he would always come back to, it's right here.
Who's to say he won't? Perhaps not most welcoming thoughts, but truly, if no one else recognized you left, we're missing 2 men and 2 horses, and 2 horse tracks went west. That's pretty comforting. At least they're not in the line of fire. There's not a line of elvish military trying to stop them.
I don't think they rode the whole way to Elturel. Where could they have gone? What do you mean they rode west and now they're safe? Safety's here.
Safety is subjective with all the elves around.
I'll broadly gesture to the destroyed part of the tavern, 16 feet to our left. Nowhere safe.
He follows your gaze. I feel safer with the drow than I do with a lot of you.
She's quite strapping, yes.
I'll turn heel and move toward what I think is room 6.
You do so. We will catch up to you Evening Starans in a little bit. Here on the North Road, QE is currently restrained. He gurgles against your mace. You get the impression that he could not reply, even if he wanted to. Jucky Sourstomp, you're not sure what you're looking at here. Perhaps the beginnings of combat.
Is it my initiative?
It is. Something happens soon, but you have a moment to act.
Chucky's going to begin approaching with his weapon drawn.
How's your crossbow feel in your hand?
Never better.
Kaysen, you reach out to whoever it is who has reached out to you. You break your oath. You lose all of your paladin levels. You feel a new power rising from within you. As you hold QE as your captive, you feel new and different types of magic flowing through you. Divine magic. You realize that you could cast a spell here very intuitively. Inflict wounds. It would just flow through you. You sense this power inside of you.
Spell slots refreshed?
What spell slots do you have, Kaysen? Or do you know?
Were you saying inflict wounds in the general sense, or is that like a specific spell? I'm just
It's
asking.
it's a specific spell. Inflict wounds allows you to focus necrotic energy through your touch or your weapon. And you feel in this moment some divine presence empowering you from within. You feel like a divine martyr. This person, this bard, who is within your grasp, slighted you, attacked you, brutalized you the same way that your deity, your new deity, was brutalized himself. And you have the power to strike back, should you choose to.
And that's the only specific spell I feel like I have a grasp on at this moment.
At this exact moment in time, that's the only spell you feel like you could cast. Certainly, this is not meant as a leading prompt. Merely one arrow in your fresh new quiver, Kaysen.
Ever the person to put himself last. Look, I don't want to fight anyone right now, but Look, let me get out of here or I will. Okay, hold on. Sorry. having an out of character lead tongue moment. Sorry.
Take your time. On the same map, Jucky, would you like to act as Kaysen finds his tongue?
Jucky's going to approach whatever's happening here.
You approach and observe. You see something strange. An elf covered in mud and blood, holding
And
someone.
that makes two of us.
It does. This situation is beyond your comprehension. You find it confusing and are unsure who the aggressor may be. Next to you, torches burn strangely in the night.
I guess I'll quicken my pace and try to get closer and discern what's happening here. So I'll dash.
You dash, approaching the pair. Kaysen, out of the corner of your eye, you see something approaching. And
He has very little attention span economy to devote to this.
Of course, yes. There is much happening all at the exact same time. And I'm sorry, I clipped something. Rain, you were digging up in the field. You were, yes. Forgive me, following the wrong flow. Before you departed for the Lonesome Tankard, you found something, and perhaps you could choose to share this with your compatriots should you see fit. We can go back and say that you talked about it on the way to the tankard. But you find, digging here in the earth, you find a flower pot that seems oddly familiar.
Given the vastness of this place, taking one would not clearly harm the lot of it, would it?
Not in your estimation. When you say one of them, do you mean the sun melon or the flower pot?
The flower pot, assuming there are many more scattered about.
You get the impression that there must be many more.
You'll take one.
You do so. It weighs about 5 pounds and has a strange. The smell reminds you of fertilizer. And in fact, you know what it reminds you the most of? It reminds you the most of the guano that you collected in the cave.
Rain would take it under arm, making really no mention of it, at least en route to the Lonesome Tankard, but would have set it on the table as they searched for Laney.
Let me move you back to the tankard. Tilda, you sense that in better times, this inn could support quite a few people. You feel like today it must be just you, your compatriots, and for better or for worse, your mother. You pass a candle that has almost burned down to the base. You pass rooms numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here you are at 6.
I'm going to pause at the handle and kind of lean in and press my ear against the door.
You hear soft crying.
Take a deep breath and give a gentle few knocks in. You know, everyone has a knocking pattern, even though if they don't know it. I'll do that. Unintentionally indicating that it's me.
You do so. You hear the sound of the crying stopping abruptly. You hear someone centering themselves. You hear footsteps. Your mother, Elaine, opens the door. She looks at you through the crack and then opens it entirely. Her form has never looked frailer. She looks tiny. She's wearing a robe, and she glowers at you. It seems like she's waiting for you to say something. Her lip quivers.
I don't know where he is. He's not an Evening Star. The best we found was a pair of hoof prints leading west from our house.
She bubbles over with grief and rage, and with both of her fists, shoves and pushes and collapses into you, crying wordlessly. She pushes you into the wall behind you. She hits you listlessly in the stomach. Her face is pressed, producing tears into your shoulder. She's murmuring your brother's name.
It'll be okay, Mom. He's gonna show up. I looked through the rubble. I didn't find him. He's somewhere.
You said there were hoof prints?
Hoof prints, yeah. Some horses. The elves didn't come here on horses. And none of the elves have seen him.
What's it? Where? Where did they go?
To the west.
West, where?
I don't know. The Horde lands? I'm not sure. Can you, like, why can't you see him?
Why can't you find him? She shoves you into the wall. She's tiny and bony. She's your mother.
Don't do that again. I'm warning you.
She looks up at you.
He's my brother, too.
Then find him.
I can't find him. You know, this would have been easier if you had died in the explosion. And I'll shove her off of me and storm away.
You do so. You hear her erupt into tears, fresh, overwhelming sobs. And after a moment, you hear the door slam shut. From down the hall, through multiple walls, you hear the sounds of wailing and crying.
I'll collapse against the wall, crumple my legs, my head into my knees, and give myself the time to get this out.
You do so. As if on cue, the candle next to you burns down to nothingness.
Well, that sounds to have gone about as well as I imagined. Spoke a different bear.
I don't think I've dealt with enough bears in one day.
Oh, this one seems to be desecrating a deity above ground that doesn't belong. I'm intrigued. He's going to make his way over to Ed, who is, I'm assuming, still puppeteering the little paper spider.
He's holding it in his hand, examining the various geometries of it.
Do you know, while I did send her off to a cave, presumably with dangerous things, she will very likely be back.
He nods at you. Your point being?
I'm a fairly good judge of danger. And so far, she seems to be the most competent of anyone here. Outside of maybe the, I don't know, 1,000-year-old druid leading an army. Just maybe don't mess with her things.
Ed sets the spider down delicately, perhaps even reverently, comma, rain. This is like the hardest sentence to say I've ever concocted. I can't do it. He sets it down delicately.
And such delicate.
And then turns to you, Rain. Couldn't do it. I tried. Just too many R's.
So long that I understand.
You're scared of her?
Who isn't? She's tall and wide, and she's from not here. She's very much from a much more dangerous place than you or I. Her kind killed my brother. They raided my carriage. They took my... Oh, that's not true. A different carriage did that. More gravity did that. Sorry, I'm starting to bleed together my hate to other things. But outside of that, she's on a mission to kill the big aberrant thing. That's her whole driving goal. Yes, I'm very afraid of her.
Rain. If you let fear guide you, you can be pushed to do desperate things. You're not doing desperate things for the drow, are you?
Not for the drow, no. Gods, no.
Interesting wording on that one, my friend. Does that imply that you're doing desperate things for someone else?
A handful of them. Very young, spry, and stupid.
No wordplay, please. What are you doing here?
And truly, I'm here for seeing these children off to a better world. What are you doing here?
He glowers at you. I'm meeting someone here.
Oh, in secret. Would you like space?
He calls over to Mikhail. Do you have water by chance? No? How about you then? Do you have water?
Oh, yes. Rain will produce the canteen that looks like it is drinking canteen, not the clear one.
Ed notices that you have 2 canteens on you. Why do I have a feeling it's not wine in that one?
Oh, no, I handed the wine off for the lunch that I had that you so graciously stole from me.
So what do you have there?
Water. Ooh, this will get you nice and fucked up tonight.
He's an alchemist, you nitwit.
It is truly water, though, from the springs.
Give me that one then.
Was he gesturing to which one?
The second, the one you did not hand to him.
Sure. He does so with a shrug. They're the same. It's not poison.
He takes it, grabs it, and uncorks it and sniffs it.
Are you satisfied?
He recorks it and tosses it back to you.
Rain will fumble, but attempt to cradle it into their chest.
You fumble and attempt to cradle it into your chest. One moment. Arsinoe St. Cyr. There's a gentle knocking at your door.
Noe sighs, sort of pulls herself out of her reverie, and then stands up from her bed and goes to creak the door open.
You do so. Your mother peers through the opening in the door.
Mother, is everything all right?
Sleeping well, daughter?
Well, it hasn't found me yet, but I'm trying. What about you?
I get the impression that there are many nights that sleep does not quite find you.
Noe sort of flusters at that. And not quite sure what to say. She tries to make herself meet her mother's gaze.
In this moment, you realize how much you look like one another. Your mom is younger than your father. She has the same nose you do, and her eyes meet yours. Come, Arsinoe. Your brother and your father are asleep. Come with me.
All right. She'll go to get her slippers and then we'll pad out after her mother. Are we going somewhere?
We are. Her response is sphinx-like, short, brusque. Stay quiet. Don't wake your father. Don't wake your brother. She walks delicately on the floorboards, careful not to make them creak too much.
I think without even being cognizant that she's doing this, she is taking the exact same steps that her mother does.
You follow her, stepping perfectly in the shadow of her steps. As you pass the master bedroom of St. Cyr Manor, she turns and gives you a quiet signal to remain quiet. She goes down the first floor stairs, remaining silent the entire time, and leads you toward the basement on the first floor. Do you continue to follow?
She does.
We will catch up to you in one quick moment. Back on the North Road, Junkie Sourstump, you are dashing down this somewhat lit path. These torches seem a bit out of place, don't they, Junkie? Kaysen, QE is struggling a bit in your arms.
He's going to make a subtle shift, like still keeping pressure, but sort of moving in a way that indicates, like, I will let up if you give me some kind of sign that you're about to surrender, and say, you will let me go to the docks, or I will rend you from lips to throat to stomach and spill my blood and yours right back on the ground. Give it up.
Roll intimidation.
That's a 6.
QE burbles what you hope is saliva through his mouth. He spits in your general direction. You realize, with the smell of copper, that some of this saliva contains your blood.
My turn or his turn?
What are you trying to do? You have him restrained at the moment, so he has no simple way to act. Certainly if you let him go, you sense that he will probably take control of the situation. But for now, he remains in your arms. You sense soon enough he'll probably be unconscious.
One moment, looking at something.
During this moment, you feel him burbling. He tries to swallow.
All right, let's try that inflict wounds.
You do so. You are casting a touch spell on a restrained creature, so you automatically hit. Roll 3d10 necrotic.
Good lord. Ooh, 11. Okay.
You deal 11 necrotic damage. You hear a voice in your head. It sounds ancient and beaten. Very good. Those who strike you are the ones that you should strike back. Those who seek to martyr you, you have a duty to hurt them. Do you understand, Case of Ilmater?
I would really prefer some, I'm not trying to be ungrateful, but, I'd really like, some kind of guidance on how to get out of my problems without, knocking people out of the sky or killing anyone. But, thank you.
You thank Ilmater. You sense things changing within you. QE's eyes look from side to side as if he's not sure who you're talking to. You feel his psychic tendrils weakening as his consciousness flits at the edge of loss.
I'm gonna give his little psychic tendrils like a smack, like mind your own business on this one.
You do so. You smack his psychic tendrils. He goes limp, unconscious in your arms. His brain still requires oxygen, vampire or not. You have an unconscious...
We're booking it if I still have energy to move.
Junkie Sourstump, you watch as an elf that looks like one of your countrymen shoves a lifeless body to the ground. It lands in a curl at the base of one of the torches.
He's gonna make his way closer. And he's going to call out, howdy.
Look, I don't want any trouble. I don't know what that was. I think it was some kind of one-time thing. I just need to get to the docks. I promise I don't think he's dead, if that's one of yours.
I'm looking for a man named Edward.
Oh, I'm so sorry for you.
How's
Is
that
he
now?
looking for you? I'm sorry for you because Ed's not. He's an acquired taste. He's saying this as he's like still jogging towards the docks.
Well, where can I find him?
You know, there's a lot of people asking where people are, and this guy just tried to kill me over me not telling him the answer. So, forgive me if I'm just not just feeling super open and friendly right now. You wouldn't happen to also be a, I don't know, two-legged leech, would you?
I don't reckon so, no.
Jucky, you are aware of leeches. Growing up in the swamp, you know what a leech is and how to avoid it.
Look, you'll run into Ed at some point sooner or later. He's kind of loud and big and hard to miss with all the shit he's been getting up to lately. Just go south. You can generally find people at the tavern. Best guess.
All right. Thanks.
It's, I don't know if you're friend or foe. Everyone kind of seems like foe nowadays, but, if you're going that way, be careful. People have been eating hands lately. So, yeah, just watch whose mouths you stick your fingers in if that's a habit that we share.
Chucky has no response.
Jucky, none of this means anything to you. You have no idea what Cason of Ilmater is talking about. You see an unconscious or dead body curled up here.
Yeah, Chucky will approach the body.
You do so. Its mouth is open. And you see clear fangs in its mouth. There are no obvious weapons. To your south, you do see a road leading toward a tavern, you could presume, if this elf you just met is telling the truth.
This guy at Chucky's feet, what race is he?
He looks to be, in your estimation, he looks human.
Chucky's gonna leave him there.
You do so.
And he is gonna head south until he finds a tavern.
You do so, heading south on the road. One moment while I arrange both of you. Cason of Lathander. Cason of Ilmater. You find yourself on an increasingly dark road. Even with low light vision, anytime that the moon is obscured, you have a difficult time finding your steps. It's very dark out here. Far in the distance to your north, you see dim lights.
He is going to just one foot after another. He knows if he stops walking again, he's probably not going to be able to stand back up. So He is moving as fast as he can, not really spending much time checking his surroundings unless there's another person in the road, which he's hoping is a no.
Looking around, roll perception.
He's only looking for basically immediate life-threatening objects. 15.
With 15 specifically looking for life-threatening objects, you see nothing particularly threatening in your immediate vicinity. You have a sense on a 15 of being watched.
This building to the left, that's, if I remember correctly, where I got catcalled in the first session. Does that building look just sort of normal, unaffected by the recent elf incursion?
From what you can tell, yes, you're exactly right. Yes, this building, from what you can recall, is worker housing for the docks. It doesn't seem like there's any lights on within, but you see the outline of the structure and it appears to be reasonably intact.
All right, that is the limit of how much he cares about that. Moving on.
As you are approaching, we will come back to you in one quick moment. Inside the Lonesome Tankard, Tilda, you are recovering. Julienne, you are at the bar. Rain, Ed Severino is staring at you as he drinks out of your canteen.
Ed, if I may be so forward, as the moon is rising in the night sky tonight, are you just succumbing to lunacy? What is your gambit tonight? I don't understand anything you've been doing.
When you reference the moon, he looks at you with a cocked head. What are you trying to say, Julian? Just come out and say it.
I think you're a lunatic. And as this night has gone on, you've just... Your actions... Some I would like to think I can explain or understand, but... I don't know. You just... It feels like you're losing it.
People have called me erratic before. Care to join the Legion?
I've called you much worse, to be honest with you, and to be fair.
Hey, where's your buddy Laird?
Probably at his home. I don't know.
Is he also your buddy?
He's my best friend, actually.
All right.
Then why don't you know where your best friend is?
He's chewing on his lip. I told you I was meeting someone here.
At well past the height of the moon?
What better time?
You're up too, right? What are you doing here? Got a little clinic to run, don't you? Someone's got a stub toe, I bet.
Yeah, we're closed for the night. And Tilda's having a rough night, so, you know, somebody had to stay with her.
Oh, Tilda's having a rough night. Hey, what's so tough for
Yes.
Tilda tonight? Oh, her house burned down? Wonder why. Should ask her mom about that. If her fucking mom could keep her mouth shut, maybe she'd still have a bedroom. You can tell her I said that.
You can tell her yourself.
Maybe
If
I will.
If you want to start shit, by all means. But you don't need to drag this poor girl through the mud. Just because, you know what? This isn't even worth my time with you. doesn't matter why I'm up. Tilda is having a rough night. We are her friends, and we are supporting her. You don't even know what your best friend is, and you're trying to meet some person? So. Again, I don't know what you're trying to get at tonight, but whatever it is, you can do much better.
I thought we weren't supposed to be poking the bear. Speaking of, has anyone seen a Friends? Rain will go over to where the sofas are and begin to pull the sofa back from the wall as if to looking for smaller friends that were there beforehand. Even there? No.
Pulling back the couch, you find nothing but dust.
Huh.
You find a half-empty wine glass. Alice Osborne is nowhere to be found.
I mean, who's missing? Just Noe? As far as we know, she just went home and slept for the evening.
Rain will gesticulate short. Small one.
The goblin?
I think he had a name, yes.
He did?
Sporgle, yes, we've been over this. Hey, he saved the young boy's life. You can give him credit where credit is due. Like we all know that Noe's up in her ivory tower, sleeping in her banister bed. And Tilda's likely slouched in a hallway. You and I are here. Elsewise, Kaysen's probably... Oh, fuck.
You hear something from outside. The call of a griffin. Ed looks up, and then between the two of you. My cue to go. Do me a favor. If my idiot son shows himself, tell him to meet me at home. Can you do that?
Whatever you want, your liege. Is your griffin coming to smash through the wall and pick you up like the princess you are? Now, tarry on. If we see your son, we'll give him the message.
Ed seems to consider a response, but then thinks better of it. He walks out the door, closing it behind him.
Are you alright?
Ed?
No, Rain looks over his shoulder to meet Tilda.
I have clearly just been crying. My face is totally red. My hair's fucked up.
Yeah, Rain recognizes all of this and still...
You said we had a room?
You can take whichever one you want. If you
Okay.
would like, presumably things have... You'd like to get it off of your mind, yes?
I just don't want to be awake anymore. Just show me the room.
Alright then. Rain will lead you off to probably just the first. Presuming your morning goes any better or worse, or you cannot find sleep, I might have a bit of a gift. When you lovely children locked me in a fucking basement, no ire... None at all. I did find something that might raise an eyebrow or two, and perhaps your bestest friend in the world shouldn't know about it. Do you think you can keep a bit of a secret, Tilda?
Okay.
Okay. Perhaps these would let you get to the bottom of what was really going on. And Rain will produce a sheaf of paper that he took from the desk of Laird in the basement.
Tilda's
These-
eyes will light up, and I'll approach the paper.
I don't know how to read these, but I think you might.
I will meticulously turn on my reading light, take the paper, nod at Rain, and jump into the covers and put the covers over my head.
Sweet dreams. Rain will very quietly try to close the door.
You do so.
Rain begins to try to call out to Julian, and recognizing the late hour, he will make his way across the room.
She'll look over as you open the door. Just motions for you to sit.
I think I'm in the realm of sleep myself at this point.
Yes.
Just to be very clear, I did not get a chance to mention this to anyone else because all of this. The cave underneath St. Cyr Manor leads into, I think, the Underdark, and there's a really fucking big ooze, or jelly, or ochre. I've really not been taught in the ways of which one's which. You know the things that almost ate us when we got out of the cave? There's one that's just...
The one I took samples of, the ochre jelly?
Oh, it's real big. Very large, very gelatinous, very uncomfortable. Yes. There's a creepy drow man. He is chanting at it. Probably a ooze god, or just a big one. I don't really know or care. However, that's just happening like 2.5 miles that way. That's not good. 2 is that it conjoins to the manor. You can just walk from the basement there, so that's just known to Laird. 2, 3, 5, who cares? There's at least one tenant that is living in that cave. Rich. He'll present the camping kit that he took, the very high quality bedroll. It's very clear that Rain could not have afforded this thing.
Does Julian recognize like the material or anything like that, or just the style? Because I mean, if it was Flaming Fist, I imagine it would just be like a standard issue.
Red.
It's not standard issue. It feels silken to the touch.
This seems too high quality. This material just doesn't seem like it's meant for being in a cave.
Yes, it was littered with bats all around it, so it did stick out, and I did take it because it'd be a travesty to leave it there.
I mean, half the reason why I'm in this town is because of that cave, but this kind of opens up more questions than I wanted.
Figured you'd
I know
want to
there's
chew on all
something
that.
Yes, I know there's something special about that cave, and I've been trying to figure it out for a year now, and now there's you said a monstrous ochre jelly?
Oh yes, very big, too big. Rain literally shudders at the thought. Also, presumably a cave entrance into the Underdark. Magical darkness. Too dark. There's bad things happening there, is what I'm getting at. Although I do think this cold is getting the best of me. I'm beginning to hear my voice break under the weight of tired. Could you be a dear? Eat on all of those words tonight, and maybe convince Mikhail to make breakfast? Hmm? Yes?
Sure.
Thank you.
What room did you put Tilda in?
Yeah, 1. I'll be in 2.
Okay.
I think... Actually, Rain has no context for where Lainey is.
Okay. I'm gonna get a small bite to eat.
Rain is already left by the time you say this.
There are the remnants of the breakfast for dinner that Mikhail had made earlier spread along the bar. Various people have picked at it, but it seems like there are still provisions here should you wish to partake in them. Matilda Lochlauren, you leaf through these sheafs of paper. The primary pattern that you notice are initials and durations of time. The most recent entry reads B.S. and a time has not yet been filled out.
Can I do a history check for B.S?
Sure. In order to get potentially advantage or disadvantage on this, if you narrow it down a little bit, we'll give you a more focused roll. Any ideas?
Tilda's thinking a name. So specifically of an individual or a faction.
I think we'll give it to you as a straight roll for that. Give me a
Sounds good.
straight history check.
$25.
On a 25, couldn't be Bart Schwenkfelder, could it?
I will, as I'm going through this, take out my book, and I will kind of make a chart of dates, duration, and if there are any initials. And in the last column, I'll put Bert Schwenkfelder, who I know to be a Flaming Fist operative.
You do so, transcribing what you can from these papers into your private notebook. Speaking of Laird's private notebook, Arsinoe St. Cyr, your mother leads you silently down into Laird's laboratory.
I think that she pauses for a moment on the landing, like, clearly, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm usually never allowed down here. But then probably her mother turns to look at her, and she scurries the rest of the way down the stairs after her. This is his workroom? I thought it would be... She looks around clearly like, where are we? What is this?
These caves are naturally occurring, daughter. Your father didn't stone shape them, if that's what you're thinking. His workshop is upstairs, and you've been through there many times, and obviously he forbids you to come through this basement door. He wouldn't want you prying. But I fear that our time is growing short. Your father is looking for someone. I fear that someone may be you.
Her face goes bloodless.
It does. You should know that she walks over and places a hand on your shoulder. I won't choose between you and him. But what I will do is try to make sure that you're safe. I watched from my bedroom window as that drow cleric walked toward the caves. I fear what she finds may set a number of things in motion. Our timeline here may be accelerated. I worry that in the morning, your father and your brother will piece a few things together.
I haven't done anything.
You have, Arsinoe. You have. Between you and me, I know what you've done. I know the choices that you've made. And I fear that reprisal is coming at your father's hands. What do you think he's going to do when he finds out? Don't answer that, but think about it. What do you think your brother will do when you force him to choose?
Why does anyone have to choose?
Because tomorrow Ed and your father are going to come to blows. There's no way that their friendship will last, given the revelations that will be uncovered soon. I would never ask you to betray or hurt Yosan or your father. But I fear that when they know what they will soon know, that they may seek to hurt you, as unconscionable as that may be. I won't choose, but I will protect you.
I think there's this moment where I think Noe trying to process all of this just feels a lot of guilt and uncertainty and shame just sort of crashing down on her all at once, and she takes in a single shaky sob before trying to gather herself together again. Um, her mother sees tears coming down her cheeks, but Noe quickly wipes them away and says, anything that I can do to avoid anyone I love coming to harm. I understand my duty to this family and to this town, and you're right, I made my choice, so I will have to live with it. Are you saying I should leave?
If you stay here, I fear that you'll have to lock the door, and perhaps consider leaving through the window. I can't protect you from your father. If you go somewhere else, I think you should try to find Ed.
You think Ed wouldn't destroy me?
She nods her head.
I understand he loves my father. I don't understand why he would ever choose me.
Because you share something that you and your father never will.
Her face falls at that.
It does. Your mother leans forward and kisses you on the forehead.
I love you. You know that no matter what I chose, I do love you.
I love you too, Arsinoe. She brushes the hair away from your face and wipes your tears. I'll tell
And
you
you'll tell father and Joseon.
exactly. I will tell.
Okay.
I will be your alibi for now. I can buy you a little bit of time, but you need to choose your next moves very carefully. I can get you a day or two at the most. Do you understand?
Yes.
Find Ed.
Okay.
He'll understand.
Okay. I'll get my things.
Your intention being leaving your family home?
Yes.
We will come back to that in one moment. In the darkness of the night, Cason of Ilmater, you hear a voice in your head. Look at his suffering. Do you see him? See how much you and him share. It's easy to imagine him up on a cross, isn't it? It's easy to imagine him nailed to boards. Everything throughout his entire life has led him to this point. Suffering. He's just like you. You see, there is a lanky man with long limbs here. As you've seen before, his ears have a slight point, and he's wearing a red jacket that's a little bit too big for him. He flicks a cigarette into the star water and pats down his right pant leg to search for his pack. He doesn't see
Rick.
you yet.
Rick.
Oh, hey. How we doing? Kaysen. You want one? Andre here can't have one, so smoke
You
him if
found
you
Andre?
got him.
You found him?
He kicks a soggy body at his feet. Roll insight, DC 8, to determine his relationship to the body.
Ten.
Rick had nothing to do with how this body came to be here on a 10. Rick looks
Rick.
down. No, not a smoker? Sorry about that.
Half of my brain is still processing the fact that I got here too late to find him alive, but the meeting place was the tavern, you fucking idiot. And he's going to punch Rick.
You do so. No roll required. How hard do you punch him?
Enough that he feels it, but not enough to break anything.
He does feel it. You feel Ilmater smiling upon you. Rick is pushed backward by the force of your punch. He staggers a bit. What the fuck was that for? I don't want to see my dad. I don't want to go to our meeting place.
You know what that was for? Because there's a dead fucking body here. Rand's fucking missing. You made fucking everyone's. Everyone at the tavern is worried. I'm out here by myself looking for 3 fucking people. Okay? Nobody could be fucking bothered to come with me. The meeting place was the tavern, you dumb fuck. You're coming back with me right now. Did you come up here to get a cigarette?
I came up here to get away from my dad. I'm not going to the tavern. I don't want to see him. Fuck him. Tell him I'll see him at his house.
All right, then I'll walk you back over to the fucking house, but you're not staying here by yourself. Or with just the dock workers. Do you even know what's going on in the town right now?
I'm safer here than there. I don't want to be around my dad. Can you imagine how much...
You know who's 200 fucking feet away from you, dumbass, on the South Road? A vampire. Give me my hand?
Yeah, vampires. Okay, good job. Yeah, that's wonderful. He smokes his cigarette. He takes a deep draw and exhales smoke at your face. You're shoving me around? What else is new? No wonder you're friends with my dad. Piece of shit. Oh, you're here to beat up Rick too. Amazing. Real impressive. Thanks a lot. Oh, there's vampires. Oh, there's bodies. He leans down to address Andre. Need a hand down there? Anything you want? What do we got? Oh, you're dead too? Great.
It's not safe over here. Do you not care what happens to you?
Not really. I certainly don't care enough to go see my dad. Keep me on the opposite side of Evening Star, away from him. He's lucky I don't get on the next barge in the morning and just leave. That'll be the most sensible thing I've done in my entire life. Just leave this shitty little place. Hey, Kaysen, let's say there are vampires. Why don't I just get out of here? Wouldn't that make a lot more sense? Look what happened to you. What's wrong with your hand? You're punching me. Your hand's about to fall off. You're giving me life advice?
never claim that I've done anything right, but fine. If you won't, I don't have any energy left, especially not to drag you or a body with me. Fine.
How about
If you won't go back to town, I'll stay over here then. And Kaysen's going to attempt to literally just climb up on top of the roof and just pitch back.
You scramble up onto the low roof over the water wheel. Rick flicks his next cigarette into the star water here. Okay, whenever you're done throwing your tantrum, let me give you one piece of advice because you just gave me several. Don't tell that innkeeper about his brother, okay? Let it be a mystery. It's better not to know. You know, I know lots of things that I wish I didn't. I wish that I could give that gift to almost everyone in my life. It's better not to know. You know what I'm saying? Do you understand that up there?
Well, you know him better than I do. So I will take your advice on that.
If you fall through into the water wheel, you're going to end up like this guy.
It would probably be the most appropriate end for me. I was never meant to make it this long. I think everyone knows that.
What, do you have an expiration date?
He's just going to close his eyes and just lean back.
You do so. Somehow you're able to see the stars through the back of your eyelids. Arsinoe St. Cyr. You find yourself in the shadow of your childhood home.
I think that there is a long moment of Noe just standing there with this overwhelming sense of needing to run, but not quite sure where to run to. This entire town has, for all of her life, been a place of safety, has been her home. And now that these lines are being drawn of what's safe and what's not safe, it is as if her entire world is being flipped upside down in a way that not even her previous choices have impressed upon her. But I think she stands here with her armor, her glaive. I think she would have tried to get the gold from her mother before leaving. I think she has some paper for letters. She didn't stay long enough in her room to write the letters, but she thinks she's going to find a place to sit down and write some things. And she is going to set off. The last place she saw Ed was the tavern, so I think she will try to make her way south.
You do so, heading south on a road that you've been on many times. I think if everyone doesn't mind, could we take a $5? How's that sound? Get up? Yes. I'll be back in a little bit.
it's like very amusing.
Hi.
Hello.
Yada, yada.
Fomari, please forgive me for sort of bulldozing the digging sequence. One of my problems is I'll write these like very overwrought ways that things connect or whatever. So this is one where like I very quickly got on the overwrought train. I was like, oh, I have something for this. You know what I mean? I just kind of jumped in my document, but forgive me.
I honestly just expected it to get hand waved in like a character channel kind of thing. So it didn't bother me at all. It's fine.
Catching up on Avernus chat.
Oh, feels. Also, I love Rain watching Tilda have generational trauma, and he was like, "But have you considered jangling keys?"
Yeah, it worked. Some real parents of the year in this town.
Yeah, really fucking hard.
With two
Rain
heavy-
tried.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Rain tried to like assist you while you were away with your the mom, but it was just like, this isn't going anywhere. I should just quit now. So it's fun being sick in character and also out of character. Makes it much easier.
And just like that, Sporgle has been erased from the tomes in Candlekeep.
I don't prepare any dialogue at all, but I did have something prepared were we to ever find the pile of ashes of Sporgle. Yeah, I fucking love. We've seen like 4 scenes of Jucky. I love him
Jucky.
already.
Yucky.
I can't wait to get fucking noped and yepped.
Yeehawed.
Mm-hmm.
The most amusing part of when you started talking is you scratched your beard, like in character, right? You like went like this, but you don't have a beard, so you just like instinctively went to scratch your beard, just like in character. That was hilarious to me. Have you ever had a beard? You strike me as a man who's never had a beard.
No. I personally don't like facial hair. I got complaints about it, so I never grew it out.
Me neither.
You fielded complaints about it? People complain.
I'm not going to say anything else, but yes, that happens.
Fair enough. I look with envy and jealousy at men who can get these big, luscious, full beards. Instead, I have this like grotty coffee house pube thing situation going on right now.
Oh, please.
I also envy facial hair. I can grow maybe 1 or 2 single hairs on my chin.
You guys are all crazy. I have very rapid facial hair growth, and it sucks. It's horrible. I shaved.
Yeah.
Like,
Fucking
Yep.
worse.
I shaved like 3 days ago or something. Like it's like miserable.
I shave almost every day.
I shaved like 3 months ago.
I'm
You ever
not
see-
over it.
You ever see that scene in the Santa Claus?
With
Like
Tim
the-
Allen, yes. Yep.
Yeah. He's like becoming Santa Claus, and like part of the gag is like he shaves his beard, and he's like, finally. And then it like grows back in 3 seconds, and he goes, oh no. And I think about that scene all the time.
Same.
That's what you guys do. You just think about Tim Allen all the time.
All the time. Nonstop.
Just constantly.
Also think about my...
ideal of a man, Tim Allen.
Made a career on grunting.
Cool time.
Also have a friend who... I was a groomsman in his wedding, and he shaved right before we went out, and then he had to shave again before the reception. That's how fast his facial hair grew.
Wow.
God damn.
Because he's like, I want to look clean shaven in my pictures.
Yeah, that good old 7 a.m. shadow.
Yeah, pretty much. Does Kaysen have facial hair? Can half elves have facial hair, or is it like half? You just get like half of your face?
He gets carded everywhere. I'll just say that.
Ah.
He definitely does not have facial hair.
Everyone feeling proceedful? Okay. Okay.
I don't like being mean to Rick.
Someone's got to be mean to someone, right? Okay, 1 second. Arsinoe St. Cyr, Jucky, Sour Stump. By pure fate, you essentially converge on the same spot at the same time. Jucky, coming from the North Road, having recently checked the body of QE. Noe, you have set off toward the tavern and you see something strange. An elf in chainmail, not wearing the uniform of his brethren, sauntering down the North Road. Just to both of your south, the warm lights of the Lonesome Tankard are ever present.
So specifically, Jucky, he's like 6'3".
All
Quite
right.
tall. Yeah, he's quite tall. He has blonde hair that might be dirty blonde hair or blonde hair that happens to be dirty. Very hard to tell. He looks like he's wearing a third of a ghillie suit and not on purpose. He's just covered in twigs, leaves, mud. Every part of him is dirty except the immaculately clean weapon he holds in his hands, which is a giant crossbow.
Interesting. Well, how do the elves stationed, the guards, react to him?
They are comfortable with him. You feel like he is a known quantity to them. On the other hand, they are studying you. Perhaps you're a known quantity as well, but not one that they're comfortable with. They're watching you closely in a way.
Noe sort of habitually pastes on a customer service smile, and then letting her gaze trail off of the guards to Chucky. She says, are you one of Alcinerat's men?
Yes, ma'am. Don't they have like a curfew for children around these parts?
She draws herself up at that, like, how dare you, sir? But can't quite seem to get the fire to lay into him about that, and just says, well, did you just arrive? It's been a very strange couple of days. There's not quite anyone to enforce curfew.
Yes, I just strolled into town. I'm looking for a man named Edward. Do you know anyone like that?
Yes, I'm familiar. What do you need with him?
Oh, we just need to have a little chit chat.
I am already aware of what Alcinerat needs from Ed, and I have assured him that I can handle it.
How's that now?
She just arches an eyebrow at him.
So, do you know where I could find him?
No, I don't think I do.
Well, all right then. You have a nice night. And Jockey continues south.
You do so.
So yes, Jockey will just continue towards the tavern.
You do so. You will arrive in one quick moment here, Jucky. Arsinoe tarrying a bit.
Yeah, I think she's going to go the long way around to the tavern. So actually crossing and going around the Sunmelon Fields to try to get to the other side of the tavern. He knows she's not going to beat Jucky there. It's like quite obvious that he already knows essentially where to go, but she is attempting to stagger their entrances.
Noted. We will catch up to the two of you in a moment. Here on the North Dock, Kaysen, constellations swim behind your eyes.
He is going to attempt to. He would normally sleep because he sort of scorns most things elven, but for tonight he's going to do sort of a more like half awake reverie sort of thing. Not even rested enough to keep one ear open for danger in general, but he's going to keep one ear tuned to any sound that might indicate Rick moving to a secondary location, and he's pretty much fading out unless anything further is lobbed his direction, be that word or cigarette.
After perhaps 10 minutes, you hear Rick moving. Looking down at him from your perch up here on the clay roof that covers the watermill, you see that he's walking toward the dock.
Okay. If it's just toward the dock, Kay's gonna stay where he is. 'Cause Rick's not going anywhere from there. Unless he has like a little dinghy, but
You do so, biding your time. Let me know if you are essentially hitting the long rest button from where you are.
Kay is out for the night. I think he reached negative amounts of energy quite some hours ago. He's hoping the fresh air will do him good.
You hope to find restorative rest here under the stars.
And also just kind of get his thoughts together about a number of things.
You are left alone with your thoughts and Ilmater, the great martyr. Here in the Lonesome Tankard, Jucky, you arrive at one of the more impressive, that is to say not very, human habitations you've ever seen. This is a large, old, well-apportioned tavern. Nonetheless, it does not impress you in the slightest. Arsinoe St. Cyr, you cut the long way to the Tankard. You arrive at the underused northern entrance. A back way, typically for people who are already staying in one of the rooms.
She will cut in, knowing the tavern quite well. I think she cuts in this way and peers into the open restaurant / gathering / living area, reception area.
You see Julienne sitting at the bar by herself. Michaela is behind the bar, drinking heavily from an open rum bottle.
She flashes Julienne sort of a small, tight smile, glances over at Mikhail, glances back at Julienne. Sorry, have you seen Ed?
You just missed him.
Did he say where he was going?
No, he said he's meeting up with somebody. We heard a griffin, and well, his wagon apparently came to pick him up and swooped him away.
Do you mean that in a literal sense?
No, I don't. I don't know where he went. He just mentioned something about meeting up with somebody. We heard the call of a griffin, and then he made his dramatic exit.
Okay.
So he was
With
here,
any
and now he-
direction?
Dearest, I have been trying to just.
I'm sorry, I know it's so late.
I unfortunately, once he leaves the door, I did not pay attention to where he went.
It's all right. She'll cross the room, approaching Julienne, and will pull the vial of unicorn blood out from her pouch and set it down on the counter. She says, "I don't know if this is the real thing or not. I've been told this is some sort of curative, uh, derived from unicorns, and as such, I don't really want to hold it. I hope that if it can be of use, I think you of all people will know how to use it."
Where did you procure this?
It
Whether or
was-
not if it's real or not, it's like just the viscosity and everything of it alone is just. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, more than you know. And she'll just leave it with Julian and turn and leave again.
No. We're not doing this.
Julian, I have to go.
You can answer a question in 15 seconds before you go. We're not leaving mysteries in the air. I don't want more untied threads. I don't want any uncounted variables. Where did you procure this from? Please. Just, if you don't want to say it out loud, just write it on this piece of paper.
Okay.
And I will burn it once I read it.
She just leans in and it's sort of childish. She cups her hand over her mouth as she whispers to Julian, "There was a man at the market who gave it to me. Someone from the Black Network."
The Zentarum are here.
She nods as she pulls away, and there's this sense that Noe doesn't quite understand the gravity of what that means.
Okay, Tarion, get some rest. Thank you for giving this to me. You have no idea what you have given me.
She
But
tries to smile and doesn't quite get it.
I can do a lot of good things with this. Thank you.
I hope you will.
I will. Don't worry.
And she sort of leans forward and very quickly pecks a kiss to Julian's forehead. It's so odd. It's almost maternal in nature. But then she sort of pats her on the shoulder and again turns to leave. And she will scurry away.
You scurry along, leaving once again into the black night.
Curiosities upon curiosities. Oh, to be cursed with knowledge. But to sit in the darkness would not bode me well whatsoever. Out of character, did Rain leave that flower pot on the counter? Or
Sure
did
did. Way too
Okay.
tired to have paid attention to it. It's on the table to your southeast.
So, as Julian probably turned towards Noe as she was walking away, it would probably catch her eye at this point.
The flower pot. Does Noe recognize the flower pot?
It's made of terracotta. It's roughly the size and shape of a baby sunmelon. It's about yay big. It has multiple holes inside of it, and there appears to be some type of substance contained within. Whatever it is, it's viscous enough or hard enough to not leave through the ports that have been cast into the terracotta pot. It smells strongly of something. It smells like sulfur or the earth, maybe.
Is Juliana aware that Rain grabbed something from the field and brought it in?
Yeah, he didn't really like. It's a big ass fucking pot.
Yeah, that's.
He didn't say anything of it. He just put it under his arm and went, "All right then," and made his way towards the end. Like it was very obvious they went into the melon field and then brought a flower pot out of it.
Now, why would Rain bring this out of the flower field? Can I investigate it?
You absolutely can. Make an intelligence check.
Just flat in.
Yep, just flat ins.
$15.
With a 15, one moment. With a 15 on your intelligence, you investigate what seems to be a seed bomb, perhaps. Something designed to disperse something. You can imagine that whatever is inside of this must require some type of oxygen or something in the air in order to function correctly. It seems to have air holes for whatever's inside of it. When you shake it, it seems solid. The clay seems well made. There are no cracks. It's very solid. When you rap on it, you hear no rattling. The terracotta has no grooves in it, nothing to suggest an obvious purpose. It smells funny.
And this is obviously something that's not been seen around town before.
You've never seen anything like it.
She'll just gingerly pick it up and take it back with her to the bar.
You do so.
She'll set it down on the counter and kind of just, while picking at food that's still available, and just gingerly examine it while also stashing away that vial that was gifted to her. And she puts it deep into her pack and kind of covers it to protect it as well.
The vial is cool to the touch.
I do not want to preclude Chucky from doing anything here, but she will try to intercept him at this point, either before or after he enters the tavern, however you want to.
I concur.
Well, Jucky will step up to the door then.
You have your token on this map, right? Yeah, you do. Okay.
Yep.
The door. There is a placard here that tells you what this place is. It says, The Lonesome Tankard in common.
Jucky opens the door.
The door creaks.
he kind of dips his head in to fit his obnoxiously large ears through the door as he comes in.
Your ears are very prominent, Jucky, and they allow you to perceive many things at once here. There's a man behind the bar drinking. There's a woman at the bar doing something with some large piece of clay, something circular. And there is someone you've seen before, someone whose name you don't know, but it's almost like she's waiting for you. In the corner, you see a strange altar. Who knows what these humans are getting up to? Nothing intelligent, that's for sure.
Jucky sees Noah and he goes, "You're quicker than you look."
Yes. Well, Ed is not here, and I suspect that I will need to accept your help in finding him.
You accept my help.
She just gives him like a look. It's very odd. She somehow looks down her nose at him, even though she's far shorter. Well, you look as if you have the skill set.
Jucky crosses his arms at that. And he goes, "And what kind of skill set would that be, little lady?"
You look like a hunter.
Nope.
She just sort of smiles politely as if she's expecting him to continue to correct her.
Nothing happens.
A tracker?
Not a very good one.
You blend in with the environment and you carry a crossbow. You're saying this is to support none of these skills that I have listed?
Oh, I'm real good with a crossbow.
She looks worried. It is starting to dawn on her that she has no idea who the fuck this guy is. Well, as I said, Ed is not here.
I see. Jucky just full stop turns around and starts walking towards the bar.
You do so. There's a woman sitting at the bar wearing the trademark green of an alchemist. Behind the bar, the bartender seems to be beyond drunk. He doesn't seem to notice you when you walk up.
Jucky walks up. He takes his crossbow and he lays the butt of it down on the bar
The glasses quiver
with
and
a
shake.
loud thump. Yeah.
The bartender...
Looks
Go ahead, you.
Okay. He looks at the bartender and he says, "I'm looking for Edward."
Oh, you're looking for trouble, it sounds like. What are you doing here?
Always.
The elves don't really come in here, so I don't know what you're doing here.
He fucking kind of like side eyes to the shrine of Lolth and goes, "Yeah, I can imagine why."
The bartender takes a deep swig of pure rum. Looking for Ed, huh? He was here. Now he's not.
"Do you know where the man lives?"
I know better than to share his business with strangers.
"Well, what about your business?" And I like to imagine Jucky probably got like 5 gold to help with this investigation, give or say. He takes
Sure.
out 1 gold coin and just flicks it at the bartender.
Mikhail's too drunk to catch it. It flicks past him and lands at his feet. I don't want your gold. I want my brother. Where'd you come from? Were you on the Northern Road?
It doesn't matter where I came from.
It matters to
What
me.
matters is where I'm going, and I'm going to find Ed, with or without you. So, how about you just make this real quick, like?
What do you want with our resident princess?
Chucky has no response for that. I feel like that's going to be a theme moving forward.
You have a sense of recalcitrance. Why should you answer these questions? What do these people have to do with you? Currently, Alcinerat and the Elves of the West occupy this town. Why are these people giving you so much lip?
I imagine it's because we're occupying this town.
I
Chucky,
concur.
yeah, Chucky might not be the sharpest hack in the drawer, but I think he's put that together. He like turns back to the bartender to see if there's like what is this princess thing go? Like princess? He's like he expects there to be some kind of follow-up. He waits for something.
Mikhail's follow-up never arrives.
He looks towards Julia and he goes, "So, do you know where he is, ma'am?"
As Mikhail mentioned, he was here and then he left. He mentioned he's meeting with somebody. And that was it. And he gave us some lip service and, well, made his exit.
And which door did he go out?
A door. I'm not his mother. He left.
Chucky takes a deep breath. Well, all right then. Y'all have a nice night. And he leaves out the door he came.
You do so, finding yourself once again in the shadow of Arsinoe St. Cyr.
She just looks at him with an expression of "I told you so." There was mention of a cry of a griffin. I wonder, does that not imply that he met with one of yours?
He was supposed to meet with me.
She just gives him a neutral look.
Chucky decides to go north and see if he can reconvene with those guards in the North Tower. Maybe they know something about this Griffin Rider.
You take a brief sojourn outside to where the northern road connects. You have a brief conversation with the guards there who share your allegiance. They report to you that they've seen Griffin riders above on a regular interval, but they haven't seen Ed. They haven't seen anyone like quite who you described. Not tonight, anyway. Let me know if you'd like to explore from that map, and I'll move you there. But that's the information you get on the northern road. While you're doing that, Arsinoe, what are you doing? Where do you start your search? You know, as a contextual background, you know that the Severino residence is just west of here.
I think she would check. I think she's also clocked that Rick hasn't come back yet either. And I think absent any other information, and seeing Chucky barge on ahead, she'll separate and go to the Severino residence just to knock on the door and see if anybody's home.
You do so. It's dark. No Severinos are found. As you stalk around the Severino residence looking for some sign of life, you don't see any fresh footprints in the mud. You don't see anything inside, no movement. Ed's windows are filled with bottles, clutter, sundries. His house is rather messy. The roof is sagging a bit.
Can she, in the absence of anything else here that catches her eye, um, she might try the Western Market Square to see if Erlen's still up.
You swing by the Western Market. Erlen is conspicuously absent. There are
Is
elves. There are elves there, but none of them are Erlen.
is his father around?
He's not. Nowhere.
Okay, she'll
Go ahead.
she may try to interface with one of the elves, asking about Erlen. In a very, she's using Elvish, but it's very academic, like very stilted. This person has obviously had very little opportunity to speak it out loud, sort of command of the language.
You have I like the word stilted there. You have a stilted artificial conversation. You are the tourist who has read the phrase book, but you have not had a chance to speak to people in this native tongue. They regard you at best with skepticism. You have a hard time masking your contempt, Arsinoe, and they have a hard time masking their disregard.
She'll ask if they've seen Erlen or if they know where he went.
Looking between themselves, the elven guards decide to tell you that they will not tell you something like that. That seems like privileged information, and they've heard that someone tried to take their captain out of the air using some kind of psychic magic. They're protective, concerned, unhelpful.
Do they seem to know about the situation where Alcinerant needs information from Ed?
Roll insight.
Okay.
We will say DC 12 to see how much do they know. Is there a disconnect between the upper echelon and the lower echelon of this occupying force? Is there a rift there? It sounds like what you're sort of prying at. Does everybody know?
There's a 19 on die, so 20 total.
20 total, 19 on die. You come to realize that these elven infantry do not seem to know what you're talking about. Why would Alcinerant want to meet with Ed Severino? They seem incredibly mystified by this. They have no idea what you're talking about. Certainly whatever Alcinerant is doing with Ed is would come as a tremendous surprise to them. They would be taken aback by something like that. Something seems up with that.
Okay, she's going to try to sync back up with Chucky.
Well, Junkie is still at the tower to the north, I would imagine.
I think so. I think that you can conclude that whenever you see fit. You've gone on your fact finding mission. You have some facts, and your next step is up to you. Whenever you'd like to conclude that thread, you can.
Well, so that's definitely like he's done with that, but I can't imagine he would come back to an inn with a Loth shrine in it, honestly.
As you wish. Other alternative arrangements for lodging for the night. You're shaking your head. Go ahead.
So if that's the point where we're at, Jucky would 100% just find a large tree somewhere, sit his back to it, and he just he does his trance with his crossbow right in his hand, sitting upright.
Does he make himself impossible to find?
Nope, he's like sitting just at some big tree off the side of the road.
You find a go ahead. You first.
no, you can describe where he's found himself.
You read my mind. You find yourself resting against a healthy river poplar. You sense that during the day it would cast a large shadow over you, Jucky, but here in the night you are alone with your thoughts, meditating and regaining your power and resting as you find the closest thing to sleep here in the wilderness.
Can I leave this to the dice to see if Arsinoe finds Jucky? I cannot imagine she would think to look among trees for this man.
I mean, he's just off to the side of the road. Like, Jucky's thinking would definitely be, I'm safer out in the open where other elves can see me in a human town. That is his thought process. So he's probably just, like, at a tree at that crossroad by the northern tower. He's just sitting at one of those trees.
Okay. I think after 10 minutes or so of this, he can hear someone walking up to him, and depending on how deep in this trance you think he is, he can either wake up before Arsinoe makes contact with him or be jump scared by her.
I imagine one of his eyes slowly creaks open and looks at you.
Do you think there is any possibility that he could be with Erilyn?
Jucky crosses his arms and considers how much he wants to share. I mean, why do you think he would be with Erilyn?
I've seen them together. I know that they need things from each other.
And how'd you come across that?
Her reticence is more that she's trying to think about how to phrase it, and it seems less that she's trying to be withholding. And she says, I know something about Erilyn that I know that his father would not want to be shared among others. I know something about what Ed knows that I know is relevant to Alcinerod.
Okay. Why are you telling me this now? Why did you wait till I was sleeping?
Well, I know how to find Erilyn. I can sense him.
Jucky is somewhat taken aback by that. He looks Arsinoe up and down. How?
She sort of gestures up and down at her armor and she says, I'm a paladin. I can sense these things. I can sense Erilyn specifically.
This is fantastic because there's no way Jucky would put together why you being a paladin would allow you to summon or to feel out a sick
It's
prince.
a wild statement.
Yeah. I don't think he even believes you. He says, that's fascinating.
Do you want to come with me or not?
Where are you going?
She'll turn on divine sense.
Does that have like an effect? Like,
maybe there's this visual effect of the wind picks up a little bit and brings with it this breeze of sun melons. Like suddenly you're smelling more of the natural earth as she taps into it herself.
God, this is so suspicious.
You activate Divine Sense. You can sense up to 60 feet in any direction around you forms of great evil. Within this 60-foot radius around you, you sense nothing, but there are, almost in the air, there's ambient dread all around you, but no undead fiends or celestials within 60 feet.
Okay, so where is he?
This is so funny. After all that conversation, Arsinoe taps into her magical girl cardcaptor Sakura senses and kind of makes a face like trying to tune the radio a little bit.
It's as if you're holding up a tuning fork and can't
Sure.
quite. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Jucky just continues staring expectantly, like, where is this going?
There's no obvious response. You would try to you attempt to attune to something. They could very well be there, Arsinoe St. Cyr, but they're not within 60 feet of you. Unless, am I missing something?
Far. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Am I missing something? Just as the DM, I feel like you're both giving me a funny look, like I'm
No,
neglecting something.
no,
This is me. This
the
is me,
situation is
yeah.
just funny. Like,
Okay.
This is me not remembering that it had a range of 60 feet, so I was expecting this, this like, aha, I will know things, and then it's like, wait, my mortal limits.
Well, here's something that you do glean from this. You strip down Jucky's soul and find that he is not undead. He is not a celestial. He is not a fiend.
so
He's farther than I thought.
well, how far can you search?
She'll indicate somehow 60 feet. I don't know how to turn that into dialogue. That's not just her saying 60 feet, but she'll say, down the length of this road to about, and she'll indicate where.
Jucky goes, oh, okay. And then he closes his eyes again and begins trancing again.
You attempt to find rest. No way. Jucky closes his eyes in front of you.
She sort of creepily watches him for a minute, just these mechanisms of a living, untainted creature finding peace somehow in the middle of this open road. This weird vulnerability that she cannot understand in this moment and maybe never will anymore. And I think she turns and goes south. She just goes somewhere. She just needs to go.
You just need to go. Where do you end up?
I think in the absence of any other direction, she'll actually try to make her way across the river towards the cave.
You do so. This path is well worn. At this point, you've been through here several times in the past 48 hours. Is your goal to sleep where you slept last night, just inside Mineral Springs?
Yes.
Noted. I have the party arranged as following. Tilda, you're in a room by yourself, going through a sheaf of papers, trying to make sense of them. Rain of Fire, you are in room number 2, torturing your thoughts, perhaps?
Yeah, I imagine that Rain is at that level of exhausted that it takes them even longer than normal to go to sleep. They would probably be awake for the next 2 or so odd hours and then trance away.
Julian Willowstride, You remain a bit unresolved. You are here in the main room of the tavern. Where, when, how, where do you go?
Julian will do a couple of things. She will write a note on the counter that says, "Please have breakfast prepared in the morning," and leave it for Mikhail.
You do so.
She'll grab the pot and anything else of her belongings and head to the rooms. She'll approach the first room where Tilda is and give a light knock on it. She's just concerned for Tilda and just wants to check in.
Who is it?
It's Julian.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure you're okay. And if you need anything, I'll be in room 3. But it sounds like you are busy, so maybe we can talk in the morning?
Maybe.
Julian will just let out the deepest sigh. I tried.
Once again, you did. You did try. You tried to fix this situation. And yet again, other people were uncooperative. But eventually, Julianne, you retire to room number 3, it sounds like.
Yes. And then, do these doors lock?
They do.
Okay. She will lock the door, and on the table right here by the couch, with what portable alchemy supply she has, she will set up a small test station. And just kind of prepare a couple of ideas to distill while she gets as much sleep as she can.
You do so. And you have a couple experiments brewing at your lab as well.
Correct.
Kaysen, you are asleep in a trance at the northern dock.
He is sleeping on the roof. It's definitely not the safest spot by any stretch. It's probably one of the worst spots he could pick to sleep somewhere next to where someone understandably just died. But he needs the open air, and he wants a good vantage point to try to keep an eye on the only apparently obviously living person that he came to search for.
And remind me one more time, Noe, where did we arrive? She is drawn to...
That area in the cave where they slept the previous night.
Got it, yes. In Mineral Springs, at the cave where we slept the previous night. Okay. Everyone is long resting, is that correct? Noted. I will total up your XP later. However, I believe you end up somewhere north of level 5. So if you'd like to, we are not playing next week. We are playing the week after. We have an off week. So if you want to do a little bit of strategizing in character creation, I recommend you start there. Level 5 is obviously a big threshold for a lot of kits. So should you wish to strategize something, probably put it there. For a couple people, at least for one person, there's a little bit of heavy-handedness to where you can and can't put levels. You can probably guess who this applies to. So I will be in contact with that player before our next session. And that's it. Good night.
We made it.
We did it.